since I've decided to just abandon all hope of subtlety, if that was ever even an option. Subtlety was never an option in this project. Eyeballs everywhere! Eyeballs. Now that I've got all that gold, those gold findings, the world is my oyster. Now we'll get to the jeweled eyeballs, shall we? Woo boy, we are cooking with gas! It's Friday. It is Friday. I'm getting an early start this week. When last we left off, I was in a state of, I don't know what you'd call it, sublime ecstasy and spiritual enlightenment. I've taken all the gold off. I did get all of the gold put into its own little containers. Got these guys. I got all the gold ready. I've sorted out all the things that I want to use. So those will be coming in a bit. My frame is not big enough to sew the gold bits on, the gold metal bits on. So maybe I got to go get a different frame or just get some wood. I don't know. I got to figure that. I'll think through that. I'll figure that out. I still got to figure out exactly what Morse code I'm going to put in here. I have a couple ideas. One of the challenges I've come across with this little Morse code idea that I came up with is that you can only get like 8 letters in here. Morse code actually takes up a lot of space. So lots of figuring to do, but we're definitely getting closer. All right, is that it for right now, guys? Can we get to sewing? Can we get to hyperlapsing and all that? I think we can. Back in a bit. Saturday. We are on a massive sewing binge this weekend. I've realized something. I've realized a couple things. Number one, I want to do all that gold. I've got all that awesome gold that I want to do. But I can't put those gold charms on here. I can't sew them on and then roll this up. That ain't gonna work, because they're too tough and stiff. But I want to get gold on here. So in order for me to get gold on here, I got to get all the soft stuff done. All the soft sewing, all the thread type sewing. And then I got to take it off this frame. And I got to put it on a different frame. Because there will be no way for me to have it on this frame and sew the gold on. Because this frame that I have, that is very upsetting and annoying at most times, necessitates some amount of rolling. And if rolling is out of the question, then something else is going to have to happen. So behind me, I have set up my PVC frame that I use when I do silk painting. I made my own little PVC frame out of PVC pipes that you get at Home Depot with little joints and stuff. That is the right size for this piece. The only thing that I'm not sure about is that when I do silk painting, I usually do very light silk. You do like chiffon or crepe de chine or those very light silks. This is a heavy silk, and it's a heavier silk because it's going to be absolutely weighed down with all sorts of gold and embroidery and thread and junk. So what I don't know is if I stretch it onto that, if that is going to be enough to support this. The other thing that I've realized is that one of the things I want to use on this is some gold work materials, some of this Japanese thread, which I want to put in with these leaves, which I'm going to do today. But there are some gold items that should not be gotten wet. And Japanese thread is one of them. This is a dry clean only material based on my understanding of the substance. So for me to sew all that in and then throw it in wash off the wash and go might not be my best idea. So I'm thinking about the order of operations here. Think what I need to do. I need to absolutely finish as much stitching on this as I possibly can. And I've got it all set up. I've gotten a lot done. Get as much done. Just do a big push. Big push. That's what I'm calling this. My big push. Big push. Big push. Then I need to get it off this frame, which it will not break my heart to be shut of this frame. There must be some way to make this frame work better. I'm sure I can figure something out at some point for my next project. Get it off the frame and soak off the wash and go. Because once I've got all the soft sewing done, all of the threads laid in and all the design lines and everything laid in, I don't need the wash and go anymore. And I'm getting kind of freaking sick of the wash and go. It's starting to get very tatty and yucky and gross, which is good because it's been protecting the silk. So that's, I think, hopefully a good thing. So I need to get that washed off. And then at that point, I think what I'll be able to do is take this whole piece, put it onto my frame that I use for silk painting. Fingers crossed that thing will be strong enough to actually support this. I mean, I could add some reinforcing things, I suppose. Then sew on all the charms and whatever other gold I want to do, whatever other beads. But basically, I want to sew on, while it's on this frame, sew on everything that I feel reasonably confident is going to be okay getting soaked, going into a soaking process. So beads are fine. This gold here, I haven't really checked it. I'm assuming it's okay. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. Probably says dry clean only. Made of imported polyester. Okay, yeah, that's gonna be fine. This is the Krennic metallic medium gold braid. That'll be fine. Everything else should be fine. All of these are, should be okay. So I need to get on everything that can be soaked as quickly as possible. With a quickness. Well, with quickness and quality. And get it soaked, get this damn wash and go off of here, and then get it on there and do all the finishing. Do all of the charms, all the gold charms, all the Japanese thread that you want to do. Anything that is going to require dry cleaning. I don't generally like to make things that require dry cleaning, but I don't know what to say. This is going to be, it may not need dry cleaning, but what I don't want to do is put in all my Japanese thread, throw it into a big basin, soak off the wash and go, and have it all be screwed up. Because I've already suffered enough heartache with this project. Heartache and discovery. Heartache and discovery. Okay, let's get set up. Let's sew. Let us sew. Let us sew. Let's get this done today. Let's get all of the celebrate your shame done on these guys. Let's get all these leaves done. Then once I get that done, I should actually be able to turn the whole frame and work on this up here. Then I'll be in terra incognita. Terra infirma. Terra something. Because I could, again, as I've said, I could just replicate what I did in the original sample up here, but I don't know what I'm doing here. But once I get that complex figured out and those two complexes figured out, I'm done. All my design challenges are done. And then it's just rinse and repeat. So anyway, that's it. So. It is Sunday, and I have been working like crazy. And I've got 2 words for you for this episode, my friends. 2 words. Jeweled eyeballs. Jeweled eyeballs. Jeweled eyeballs. It's time. It's time for jeweled eyeballs. If there has ever been a project that has required jeweled eyeballs, it is this one. Okay, so let's do a quick update. I stitched yesterday like crazy. I got this area in here figured out. I had to redo this leaf. I did it once, and I cannot overstate how much I hated the colors that I used. And it was also kind of wibbly wobbly through here, so I redid it. And then these guys I really like. They were supposed to be like skeleton leaves. So it was like you have the green leaf and then you have the skeleton leaf. But they ended up looking more kind of like flowers-ish. I don't know what they look like, but I put beads on them. And I like the way they look now. One of the things I did with these skeleton leaves is I basically used 3 strands of black floss and then 3 strands of that sparkly stuff, that Jewel Effects. I really like the way that looks. And the reason I did that is I'm now starting, and I can't wait to wash off the wash and go, because I'm starting to get scared that a lot of this really cool kind of stringing or whatever you'd call it, I mean, it's definitely going to be textural, but you're not going to be able to see it against the black. And you know how I know that? Because every time I spit or dribble or drool, the wash and go gets little spots in it. And I've got a little spot down here, which you can't really see. Maybe you can, who knows? Maybe I can zoom in on it. you see the black silk through the back, and there's just no contrast. I didn't expect there would be any contrast, but I like the effect of this stringing so much that it's going to be a shame if it totally vanishes, I think. So I thought, well, how can I continue to use the black as a kind of a tone and as something to pull this together? And then I came up with the idea of mixing it with some of the sparkly, and I love the way it looks. Love it. Love it. I finished up all of the Celebrate Your Shame on the bottom, and it's got a really cool thing on the back. Look at this. Look at how the stitching pattern looks on the back. It looks like a magic sigil. The back of it has hidden secret magic shit. Hidden secret magic junk. But I bet you're wondering, Mary, didn't you mention jeweled eyeballs? Haha, yes, I'm getting to the jeweled eyeballs. One of the things that I really wanted in this is I wanted that to be an eye. I wanted it to be an eye staring at you. And I was like, okay, how do I get that feeling of an eye? And on the test piece I did originally, it didn't look like an eye. It had pretty stitches on it, but it didn't look like an eyeball. So, this is going to be a big eyeball, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And then, furthermore, even better, there's going to be more eyeballs. Little tiny jeweled eyeballs. Ooh. All right, so here's what I got. So I'm messing around on this little guy here. So all those gold findings I have, I've got ones that are little circles, right? Little circles. And I'm going to put the little circles right here at the intersection of these gold crosses. And then behind in that area back there, you have some satin stitch in a very kind of a eyeball color. And then I'm going to put a bead. I think I'm going to put the bead like this, more sideways, because look at how glittery that is. When I do it this way, I stacked it with a little seed bead on top, and it sits nicely, but you don't get as much of the sparkle on this bead. And then there's some nice little like eyelashes and seed beads and stuff. Those eyeballs, those little tiny eyeballs, they're going to go here, here, here at the junction of all these crosses. So it's going to be a circle of little tiny eyeballs. Ah, it's going to be amazing. And then, as if those little tiny eyeballs were not enough, we are going to really do a big eyeball in the middle. So I'm going to do, I wanted to honor the fact that, remember all this stuff, this blue stuff that I've used, all this blue, it's not even real linen, it's completely fake, but I like the color. I'm sure it's polyester. I want to honor that. I want to honor that in my design. So in the middle, I'm going to applique on a little piece, a little round circle. I did the little fancy thing there where I pressed it and got it really nice. And I've got my thread ready to go because I think I'm going to go ahead and applique that on with a quickness since I've got it all ready to go. That's going to go in the middle. And then in the very middle, we'll have a little circle of that. Probably have another super big fancy bead right in the middle, right? Now I know that blue doesn't match any of my other blues. I don't really care. Nothing matches nothing. Who cares? It's beautiful. It's fantastic. I love it. You look at the Chaos Tarot spread and the Chaos Tarot spread looks back at you. Rad. Love it. Okay, so anyway, I'm feeling pretty good about where we're at right at this moment. Eyeballs. Jeweled eyeballs. Once we got to jeweled eyeballs, I just knew it was going to be okay. Once I figured out the jeweled eyeballs, I knew it was going to be okay. All right, well, I suppose I should stop all this foolishness and actually get back to stitching. Let's do some more stitching. Shall we? Join me, won't you, as we stitch some more here on Stitchin' with Salt. It's Monday. We are done for this week. Got a lot done. It's all about the eyeballs this week. Got my 2 little jeweled eyeballs laid in. Got my scheme for the mighty central eyeball laid in. The exciting news is I've made progress on my vision for this central eyeball. We're going in an eyeball direction now. We're embracing eyeballs, jeweled eyeballs, eyeballs of all varieties. So we're going to have, as I said, we're having the jeweled eyeballs all around, which are going to be awesome. And then in the center, we're going to have a big, massive, amazing eyeball. And I did some color work and some studies on it. So here's what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do, remember I said I want to make it look like a real eye. So I'm going to do some shading in here, some kind of long and short shaded stitches, kind of a satiny, random satin stitch in here with some red veins, which are going to look awesome. Where's my pointy pointer? There's my pointy pointer. And then in the iris, I'll do like black and gold so that it kind of is similar to the black and gold that I've done around these eyeballs. And then the very center will be all black. I was thinking of putting a bead in there. I don't want a bead. I want there to be a black. It's black like my soul right in the middle. And we'll have a little jewel. So anyway, this is kind of the test pattern. It's very rough and I just threw it in. But I wanted to see how the colors would look together and I'm feeling really good about it. I think it's going to look pretty cool. I got some beads in there too. Stupid seed beads. Man, I've ranted about this on TikTok. Okay, real talk. What genius thought that packaging seed beads in these kind of fucking containers was a good idea? There's no way to get them out. They all mix up together. It is literally the worst thing I have ever seen in my life, and it enrages me. Thanks, bye. So I had to like drill holes into here to get all the, anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm in a frenzy of productivity right now. I'm in a frenzy of, I haven't left the house in 3 days. I've just been stitching, which is probably a good thing. Probably a good thing that I don't leave the house. Shouldn't be out in the real world, I don't think. So there's a few things I got to figure out, but I feel like they're kind of small. They're small but important. Sometimes when you get down to the final details, it's like you have so much already in. Why is this thing just like every time I fuss with it, it just won't lay flat? I'm going to have to put a stitch in that or something to make it lay flat. It will not lay flat. I will put a stitch in you. I will put a stitch in you if you don't lay flat. That is a promise, not a threat. Yeah, it is also a threat. So what I was going to say is once you get down to this, you have so much that you're already responding to that you've put in that a lot of the little things that you have to figure out sometimes become a little harder because you've already done other stuff and what you put in has to kind of respond to what you've already done. So there's that. My point was, I had a point. Did I have a point? My point was I'm in a frenzy of productivity and it means that I'm laying down a lot of hyperlapse and a lot of video and there just comes a point when there's too much. So, all right, well, that's my setup for Monday, because apparently Editing Mary gets mad at me when I don't do a setup. I think there's ways to go from one hyperlapse to another. It's called the title card. Look it up. Not that hard. Surrounded by artistes, prima donnas. Why'd you pop open the camera, Mary? Do you have anything to say? Seriously? No, not really. You've had like 8 Rainiers. God, I love the eyeballs. The eyeballs are great. Fuck. There's going to be eyeballs here, eyeballs everywhere. I want to get more kind of magical stuff in here. I've got a great, so I laid in this Morse code and I've got 2 more things of Morse code. I've got a really great option for the next one. And I will talk about that next week or the week after or when the hell ever. I don't know. Man, look at this. This is going to be so freaking cool. Look at this. With that eyeball, man. Oh, it's going to be nuts. Nuts, insane, and incredible. All right, cool. Well, it's getting there. It is getting there. This goddamn stitch still will not lay flat. I swear to God, I will put a stitch in you. I have to put a stitch in you because you're really pissing me off, bro. Bro, you're pissing me off. Yeah, it's getting there. It's getting there. I really want to dive in on the eyeball. I want to dive in on the eyeball. Perhaps I will do that next week. Closing thoughts. Closing thoughts for this week. I don't know. It's getting there. It's got a kind of a rough charm. Kind of a brutal, unalloyed something. It's got something. It's got something. Anyway, I guess that's it. I just wanted to do an outro, and this is a completely useless outro. But there you go, Editing Mary. You have a frickin' outro, so are you happy now? I hope. Whatever, dude. Always yelling at me. Not quite centered here. All right. I wonder if I should put beads in here too. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, that's it for this week. Like, share, subscribe, all that baloney. Do what you want to do. It's all the same to me. I'm gonna be sewing no matter what. Making phenomenal, exceptional, over the top, gold. God, I hate this frame. This frame is just, and it gets worse every day. Look at this. Rickety ass bullshit is what this thing is. Rickety ass bullshit. No way to tighten it. Tighten it every 2 seconds. Ugh, I hate this thing. Anyway, that's it. Talk to you later. See you next week, I guess. Bye.